The tomb of a king of the Han Dynasty in China dates back more than 2,000 years. It is nearly 100 meters deep into the mountain, has a complex layout with 15 chambers, and is the tomb owner's residence after his death. Rumor goes that countless treasures were in the tomb, but looted by an army in ancient times. And this is the story of this ancient tomb. On the mountain in Yongcheng City, Henan Province, China, there has been a mysterious deep cave since ancient times, apparently dug by hand. No one knows how long the cave has been there, its purpose, or who dug it. In the 1980s, archaeologists investigated this cave and concluded that it was a tomb of a king from the Han Dynasty, dating back more than 2,000 years. Because it had been open for so long, they couldn't find any burial objects in the tomb. The kings of the early Han Dynasty were somehow inspired to dig chambers in the mountains as their tombs, each chamber having a different function. Archaeologists have discovered dozens of such tombs in China. Chariots and horses were often buried in the chambers near the entrance, symbolizing the garage. Everything we see here today is a replica. When the archaeologists arrived, the tomb was empty. They didn't even find any fragments of items. Workers from more than 2,000 years ago used primitive iron tools such as hammers and chisels to carve out stone chambers with flat walls in a mountain. We can imagine the workload involved. The function of this big chamber is puzzling. These human figurines are all modern works. Emperors and kings of the Qin and Han dynasties did bring terracotta warriors with them as guardians in the afterlife, but they were generally buried near the tombs, not in the tombs. We can see many square holes in the wall, but no one knows their function. There are many more holes like these in this tomb. Some believe there may have been wooden shelves here initially, similar to those in supermarkets today, with burial objects. I guess we may never know. This chamber may be a weapons storage room. Again, it's just speculation based on previous archaeological discoveries. Under these square stones on the ground are drainage ditches, which we will see again. What we see now is the main chamber of the tomb, surrounded by several small chambers, symbolizing the living room, kitchen, storage room, and bedroom, just like the residence of the tomb owner during his lifetime. Archaeologists discovered the remains of a memorial hall while investigating near the tomb. Based on the inscriptions on the building components, they concluded that the tomb owner was Liu Wu, king of Liang in the Han Dynasty. His coffin was probably originally placed on this platform. As a king in the early Han Dynasty, he was most likely wearing a jade burial suit. But even if there was, it's long gone. Liu Wu was a king who played a critical role in the early Han Dynasty. During the large-scale rebellion in 154 BC, Liu Wu firmly supported the central government and helped eliminate the rebels. As you can imagine, he received many rewards from the central government after that. Therefore, when he died in 144 BC, people believed his tomb contained countless treasures. We can see a corridor surrounding the main chamber, with small chambers at every corner. It seems to symbolize the courtyard of the tomb owner during his lifetime, and these mysterious halls appear again. They must have some use, but we can't be sure what it is now. The large tombs in ancient China all had drainage systems. In this case, water seeping down from the mountain top flows into this well through the drainage channel and finally seeps into the mountain along the cracks in the rocks. At the end of the 2nd century AD, more than 300 years after the tomb owner's burial, the Han Dynasty was on the verge of collapse. China fell into chaos and division, and local forces and regimes emerged one after another, and Cao Cao was one of them. According to historical records, Cao Cao even set up an army branch to rob tombs to cover the enormous military expenditure, and they most likely looted this tomb and took away tons of treasures. According to archaeological investigations, these mountains were the royal cemeteries of the Liang kingdom of the Han Dynasty, with several Liang kings and queens buried in this area. These tombs had taken significant anti-theft measures. Hundreds of boulders weighing over a ton blocked the entrance and passage. It is conceivable only an army could drag them all out. After the infamous robbery, the tomb remained open and somehow became a tourist attraction, with people visiting occasionally. Around the 5th century AD, during the Northern Wei dynasty, someone came in holding a candle and saw the murals on these walls. Of course, they are no longer there today. Around the 11th century AD, during the Song dynasty, someone entered the tomb and saw the stone doors and the portraits carved on them, indicating that these chambers originally had doors. Unfortunately, as time passed, everything movable was gone, leaving us with only this empty tomb. According to the burial customs of the Han Dynasty, the king and the queen were buried in the same cemetery, but in different tombs. It means there must be a queen's tomb nearby. In 1991, people accidentally discovered the queen's tomb, which runs through the mountain from both sides and is much larger than her husband's, just like an underground labyrinth. And that is what we will see in the next episode.